So what's going on guys, Kadis here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Berserker PvP build in Lost Ark. So in this guide I will show you what abilities and awakening skill you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best skill rotations to use, and then lastly I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to allocate for PvP, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So the Berserker is the Lost Ark's traditional warrior class with a slight twist. He is fast, very beefy and can dish out serious damage when given the opportunity. This gives the Berserker a very high rank on the PvP meta. In 3v3 and 1v1 arenas, the Berserker plays more like a hit and run assassin than rather as a full warrior class. That's mainly because his skills in PvP have high cooldowns and he can be limited by mana issues as well. But do not worry, because his skills have a devastating impact in battle and I will show you how to use this to your advantage. Overall, this class is high damage, he has good mobility and high basic stats. And then lastly, the Berserker has good push immunity, which means that you can't get easily interrupted. So if you're looking for the best and highest damage 1v1 and 3v3 Berserker PvP build, then this is the one for you. Okay, so now let's move over to the build itself, and these are the skills you want to have. So then for the first ability we have the shoulder charge, and we use 7 levels to unlock the excellent mobility and chain charge. Then for the second ability we have the red dust, and we use 10 levels to select the nimble movement, blood slash and the red wave. Then for the next one we have the tempest slash ability, and we use 10 more levels to unlock the nimble movement, enhanced strike and driving hit. Then for the fourth ability we have the diving slash, and this time we use just 7 levels to select the excellent mobility and swift move. Then for the next one we have the mountain crash skill, and we use 10 levels to unlock the enhanced numbing effect and earth impact. So then for one of the last abilities we have the finishing strike, and we use 10 more levels to select the tenacity, finishing blow and kill confirm. Then for the 7th ability we have the sword storm, and we use once again 10 levels to select the nimble movement, tenacity and earthquake wave. And then for the last and final ability we have the wind blade, and we use our last 10 levels to unlock the quick preparation, focus and wind swift. Then for your awakening skill you want to get the chain of vengeance, and for your combat stats you want to have 1 crit, 249 domination and 750 swiftness. Okay, so then moving over to the gameplay, and if you have played this class while leveling you will be very familiar with the skills, so I will just try to give you a short description. So then for the first ability we have the finishing strike, and this is a high damage and push immunity skill that will make you invulnerable to the enemy push, and you will do great damage at the same time. You can even delay the second part of the skill to extend the push immunity duration. Then the next ability is called the shoulder charge, and this is your main engage and mobility tool that will give you the ability to charge forwards for up to 7 meters. Then the next skill is called the tempest slash, and this is a good combo skill that knocks down the enemy on the final strike. When using this ability, try to get up close to the enemy, so it will be easier for you to hit the target with every part of the skill. Then for the next ability we have the mountain crash, and this is a great tool for hard crowd control. And as well, don't be afraid to use this ability on the enemies when they are downed to just lower their speed. Then for the next two abilities we have the wind blade and diving slash, and these are great mobility and damage skills that you can use to engage or escape the enemy attacks. Then the next ability is called the red dust, and this is a very high damage skill that when you activate it, it will swing your sword for 6 times, and on a successful hit you will put a debuff on the enemy, so then your damage is increased for 30% for the next 6 seconds. Then for one of the last abilities we have the sword storm, and this is one of your main push immunity skills with a powerful hard crowd control. So when using this skill you will jump into the air and knock the enemy down. While you're doing all of this you will get push immunity, and at the same time you will inflict a bunch of damage to the enemy. And then moving over to your awakening skill, which is called the chain of vengeance, and this ability releases a chain of energy that damages the enemy, then pulls them closer to you, and then lastly a massive explosion will happen and you will knock the enemy away when dealing bunch of damage. And then lastly we have our identity skill, so by attacking the enemy your identity meter will fill up, and then when it's at full you can activate the Berserker mode and you will gain a full immunity from the enemy skill. And if you press the same Z key again, your special identity skill will activate and your character will do very quick sword swings, and with each swing it will do damage, and then the final hit will push the enemy away. I would recommend to use this ability no matter if it's early or late game, just if you see an enemy that has used his dodge, and if he gets stunned again, then use this ability and inflict this damage that will be hard to escape from. Okay, so then moving over to the playstyle, and I will give you 3 skill rotations that if you use them properly, you will do the highest damage possible. But in general, the Berserkers uses a hit and run playstyle, so coordinate your engagements with your team and back out after using your skills. Make sure you check your cooldowns and mana before engaging again, as you may run into a mana trouble if you're not careful. So then for the first combo, we want to start the fight with our shoulder charge or the wind blade ability. Then we follow that up with the tempest slash. Then when the enemy is falling down, use the mountain crash, and then we finish it off with the finishing strike. Then for the second combo, we start the fight with the sword storm, then we follow that up with the tempest slash, and then we finish it off with the red dust. And then lastly, for our third rotation, we start the fight with your wind blade or shoulder charge ability. Then we follow that up with the mountain crash, then the tempest slash, and if we still have the time, then we finish it off with the red dust. So like any build in PvP, all of these 3 rotations will start with high mobility skill to catch the enemy, then we stagger the target or increase our damage, and then lastly, while the enemy is down or trying to recover, we finish him off with our highest damage skill. Remember that the Sword Storm and Finishing Strike are your 2 push immunity skills, so a lot of times you don't have to even worry about the enemy. Just use one of the skills to gain that push immunity and you will be unstoppable to do a bunch of damage. And then lastly, whenever your Bloody Rush identity skill is back up, use it right away, as it is pretty fast and nice damage dealer. And you will want to put it on a cooldown, so you could get to use it as much as possible. And of course, the more you will play, the better you will get. Just most importantly, learn what each ability does, and with time and practice you will know what to do in each fight. So now for my last and final conclusions for this build. I strongly recommend you to stick with your team in order to protect each other, but of course you're feel free to branch off from time to time to look for engagements or opening as well. Then second of all, be patient. Mana and cooldowns can be a big issue if you're not careful with this class, so most of the time always wait for all of your skills to come back up and then use one of the 3 ability rotations I showed you previously. And then lastly, remember about your push immunity skills and transformation immunity as well. As you're playing a Berserker, it will be hard to knock you down or stagger, so use your push immunity skills to get into the fights and close to the players. Then lock down your target and do a bunch of damage. And then on top of all this, before I end the video, I want to give you 2 to 3 different alternatives in case you don't like one of these abilities in this build. But if you're looking purely for the best of the best, then stick with the skill setup we covered previously. So a decent alternative is to replace your diving slash for a maelstrom ability. Both of these skills are pretty much the same and will do a bunch of damage. I personally prefer the diving slash because of his damage and mobility. But if you prefer to have another skill with push immunity and good damage, then you're feel free to switch, but I do not recommend it. And then lastly, for your awakening skill, you can switch from Chain of Vengeance to Berserker's Fury. Our selected option to Chain of Vengeance is easier to use and will do great damage, plus fill up your identity meter a bit faster. But then the Berserker's Fury is still a decent second choice, and even if you look at purely numbers, this ability will do more damage, but it's harder to use and is more unpredictable. And that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other good Lost Ark PvP classes that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe, and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you wouldn't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here